Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is episode 5 of the I Hate Tipping podcast. I'm Collin Key, your host for today and every day. Appreciate you joining me again. Today I'm going to get into a whole bunch of different shit, a few things and some stuff. I'm going to talk about this, that, and the rest of it, and call some people assholes. I'm going to review a movie that I just saw, something that I bought recently. Let's just get right into this as soon as this music stops. All right, episode number 5. Again, thank you for joining me. Show notes from episode number 4. Okay, so the last episode, I talked about a whole bunch of different stuff. One of them was funniest movie I've ever seen, which is Freddy Got Fingered. And let me make sure this thing's recording. Yes, it looks like we're live. Oh, let's see, I got to check again. Always check to make sure you did everything. I didn't start my my backup recording again, which from all the different places that I looked at to learn how to do a podcast, they all said always have a backup recording because, man, it would suck to sit here and talk for an hour and a half and realize that something wasn't clicked right. Wow, that would suck. I don't have to do it all over again or just abandon that episode. So anyway, yeah, if anybody out there is planning on starting their own podcast, have a backup plan. I just do mine on my phone. All right, so on the last episode, I talked a little bit about funniest movie, which was Freddy Got Fingered, and the woman who was in that, whose name was escaping me because I was drunk, was Drew Barrymore. She's the one who's been in all the Adam Sandler movies. I hope my voice is coming through clear. Ed Harris is the main star of the movie The Abyss, which is an excellent movie. And when I was recording this, it got me to thinking about The Abyss again, and I pulled it up on YouTube, just like scenes and stuff, because there's this one scene which is like the most intense scene in a movie ever, the one that I talked about on last week's episode. And I didn't know that they made a whole documentary on the making of that movie, and it was actually like, not only is that movie a masterpiece and just fucking awesome, it was like groundbreaking. They actually did things that no one has ever done before to make that movie. Like they used a giant nuclear reactor facility that just happened to be abandoned. Like they started making it excuse me. And then they started building the nuclear reactor. I feel like I got more energy now that I got that out. By the way, today's episode is not brought to you by, but partially influenced by Stone Delicious IPA, which is, I love the bottle. The color of the glass is a color that I can't even describe. It's beautiful to me, and the design on the bottle, which is why I buy this more than any other reason. It's not really that great. It's not it used to be one of my favorite IPAs when I first started drinking IPAs, but it's just okay. Regular Stone IPA is better than the delicious version, if you ask me, but we're having it nonetheless. It's 7.7%, so gets the job done. That's for damn sure. Okay, so yeah, they made a whole documentary about The Abyss, and they used they had to like make technology, invent things to make that movie work, because it's all like underwater, and the actors had to go through hell to learn how to act underwater, and it's great. The movie is one of the all-time best movies ever made, in my opinion. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. I promise you'll love it. I mean, it's dated. It's from 1987, I believe, or 89, but it holds up. And there's so many different elements to that movie that make it great that wouldn't even know where to begin to do like a full review. So just watch it, buy it. If you can find it on like a Blu-ray or something, or even a regular DVD, just get it, own it, love it. What else about last week? I hope it wasn't too choppy sounding, because I'd recorded like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something last week, and then I had to cut it way down, because I was running off at the mouth, and I said a bunch of shit that I immediately, when I listened to it, was like, no, people will be pissed off about that. Trump shit and this, that, and the other. I'm not going to touch politics, and I'm not going to touch religion because, no. But I will tell you this. In editing last week's episode, I was staring at these, I don't know what you call this, when you're looking at the tracks and the recording, like the visual representation of the sound that's on the screen on the computer, they take shapes. And I was editing for so long that I could tell, like, this noise, I could tell what that looks like on the recording, and just I wanted to take all those out, as many as I could, and because I do that a lot. And I could just see it. Like, I didn't even have to listen to it. I could just look at the blips on my screen, or this jaggedy, whatever you call this, these jaggedy music sound lines. And I could just see, up there's one, and just click and delete them. And that was some heavy editing. But it's cool because I like learning new things. And yeah. So anyway, so that's it for last week's episode. I talked so fucking long last week, and it was because of the beer. So tonight I got 2 Stone IPAs, and then once these are gone, I'm getting into my favorite beer, which is Mad Hatter. It's in the freezer right now. I gotta remember to take it out, by the way. All right, so another thing, I had planned on starting this episode off by saying, where the fuck is episode 3 of Rick and Morty? If you're not familiar with Rick and Morty, it's on Adult Swim. It's an adult cartoon, which is just beyond excellent. Like, people just Google it, look it up on YouTube. People have gone crazy for the show, and for a good reason. It's a great, fantastic, intelligent, excellent fucking show. And the first 2 seasons came out, and everybody loved it. And we've been waiting for season 3, and they warned us that it was going to be a long time before it was out, but it's been like a long time for season 3. And I was about to say, where the fuck is Rick and Morty season 3 on this episode? And I Googled it. And wouldn't you know, last night, some person tweeted at one of the creators of the show, where the fuck is season 3? And the creator of the show was like, what do you know what, would it make you happy if I just released it now? And that person was like, yeah. And he was like, all right, here, fuck you. And he just released it. And he just put it up on YouTube, or not YouTube, on online somewhere. And I found a link for it. I think it's gone now, but I was like, ain't that some shit? I guess he just got pissed off and just put it out there. And if you were lucky and happened to see it, you would have gotten to watch the season 3 premiere yesterday, and I missed it. And so I still don't know when it's coming out officially, but I can't wait. If you're not familiar with that show, you should get familiar with that show, because it's great. If you like, I mean, even if you, a lot of people think they don't like cartoons, like adult type cartoons, because they're cartoons, but like Archer is brilliant writing. Rick and Morty, brilliant writing. These are 2 shows that I highly endorse 100%. All right, so that's it for that card. Fucking no wonder I don't play basketball. All right, so I also saw online in the news the Samsung S8 and S8 Plus are finally being released on April 21st. That's exciting for me, because my phone right now is the Samsung S6 Edge Plus, which to me was the perfect phone. Like, I have 0 complaints about this phone. Well, one complaint is that I would have liked to have a removable battery, just to have an extra one, and expanded storage. But I mean, honestly, the battery lasts in a long time. It's a big ass phone, so it has a big ass battery, and it lasts. And this phone is everything I ever wanted in a phone, but now it's starting to act up. If I jiggle a cord the wrong way, it shuts off. And, you know, I've had it for a couple years now. And I'm almost ready for a new one. Well, I am ready, but my plan or whatever will allow me to get a new one, like on the payment plan through AT&T, I believe in June. So I'm excited for the S8. And I would have paid like the cash to get the Note. What was it? The Note 4, or the one that was exploding on people's heads and shit. I really liked that phone. But, you know, obviously they had to take it back. What a fucking disaster that was. But I held that phone. My aunt had one. It was beautiful. And this one looks even better. It looks like the best phone ever invented, and I believe, or ever created. And they said that online. They said it's the best smartphone ever. And I just hope a couple things. I hope that they got rid of that damn, if anybody has a Samsung Galaxy phone, you know about that loud, the loud listening volume thing. Like if you turn your volume up past like 3, randomly it'll cut back down and this message, and it won't go back up until you read this fucking thing that says listening at high volumes can damage your hearing, which is fine. Like they should have programmed that in the phone to do one time. Like when you initially, like one time randomly when you go and do it, it should say that, and then you should never have to see that again. That shit pops up on me every single day, sometimes 2-3 times a day. It is annoying as fuck because my phone will be on my hip and I'll be listening to my headphones, exercising or doing whatever, and then all of a sudden the volume will go down, way down, and I hit the up button to turn it up, and it's like, oh fuck, and I have to unlock the phone, open it up, clear that damn message off. I hope they do away with that. The new phone, the S8, looks sexy as fuck. I'm reading that the S8 Plus is too big. They're saying that even though the battery is ridiculous because it's so big that it has a mega battery in it, I've read in more than one place they said it's just too big. I'm going to take a look at that because I like the big screen. But they said that the S7, or excuse me, the regular S8 is still bigger than the old phones. And the S8 Plus is like a fucking iPad, like a half an iPad. So I'll be the judge of that. And they said it's really expensive too. But I don't know. And it only comes in one memory size, which I believe is 64 gig. But you can also, I mean, there's a memory card slot, so you can up it to 256 gigs if you want. I can't wait. I'm excited. I like electronics. The screen on that new one looks insane. It's like the whole phone is the screen, basically. And it has the curved edge like I like on the one that I have now. What else did I want to say? That's it for that one. All right. True story. Oh, fuck. This one sucks. So, I like to ride mountain bikes. Okay? I like to ride bikes, period. Motorcycles, mountain bikes. I plan on buying a road bike, dirt bikes. Just bikes. I like bikes. Bikes! That's for all my mommies. Or not my mommies. All the mommies on Whackhead, or Your Mom's House. Bikes! Late last year. How do I start this story off? It's not that heavy or anything, but it's a mountain biking story. Well, here's the way I approach this. Yes. So I got really heavily into trail riding last year. And then I wanted to, and I was so into it. Like I started riding the trails kind of hard and doing like little mini jumps and shit. And I'm old. It's kind of late in life to start doing jumps on mountain bikes. And plus, like, I have a job and shit. If I fall and snap my fucking arm in half or some shit, I got to watch. But I got really excited and I started going a little bit harder. Bought a full face helmet, not goggles, but eye protection and shit. And I was like, well, fuck this. And I was riding a hardtail. This is for people who like mountain bikes, just so you know what I'm talking about. I had a specialized rock hopper hardtail. I still have it. But I was like, I want to go ride downhill, like real downhill. And there's a place not about an hour from where I live. But you can ride a hardtail. If you don't know what a hardtail is, it's a bike that only has front suspension. It doesn't have suspension in the rear. So I went to the bike shop and they had a good deal on a Giant Anthem, which is a trail bike. It's not a downhill bike, but it's a full suspension. It has front and rear suspension. Nice bike. Very, I like the bike a lot. It could use some upgrades, like the brakes suck. Anyway, so I said, okay. And I asked the guys at the bike shop, I said, could I take this on the trails or on the downhill trails up at the ski lodge? And they said, well, I mean, yeah, you could. Sure. You could do whatever you want. And I said, okay. So I took it. And I went up to the ski lodge. If you don't know what downhill so trail riding is exactly what it sounds like. It's trails, like paths through the woods and the dirt, in between the trees that are, pre-cut out for people to walk, hike, run, whatever, and ride bikes. Downhill is where you start at the top of basically a mountain or whatever, and you go fast down trails, but it's like steeper, more challenging, way more challenging terrain. There's jumps and drops and twisting berms and all kinds of challenges purposely put there to make it difficult. And I wanted that, and so I went. And I remember when I got there, and I rented the pads and the knee pads, elbow pads, a chest protector, a shoulder gear, all that shit. I had a full face helmet, gloves, everything, boots. I was ready to go. Well, not boots. I had tennis shoes on, but I got there. This is going to be a long ass story. So what happened was I didn't know what I was doing, and I got in line to get on the ski lift because, like I said, it's a mountain, and you have to take a ski lift to get to the top. And I was in line, and these young dudes in front of me were like, "Oh, dude, you're taking a trail bike on a downhill course?" Because the downhill bikes have like crazy suspension, and they're actually like the geometry of them is stretched out at like crazy angles so that they absorb. They're made for it. They're made for hardcore terrain. My bike is made for medium terrain at way slower speeds. You can do it, but you can only do some of it really, because you're going to get fucked up. Like some of the jumps and shit, there's not enough suspension travel. So in other words, my suspension has, I think, maybe 4.5 or 5 inches or something of travel in the back, or I don't know. Some of these bikes, the downhill bikes have like 8-9 inches of travel, like double what I have. So that whenever you go off a big jump or a big drop, you don't just smash to the ground. It'll absorb the shit. That's not what the story is about. So I was talking to these guys. I'm like, "Hey, you got the wrong bike, dude." And they were like, "Yeah, whatever. You must be good." Or they didn't say that. They said, like, basically, "Why are you doing that?" And I said, "I don't know. I just wanted to." And they were like, and I said, "I've never been here before." And they said, "Well, follow us." So I went and I followed them for a little while. We got to the top. I followed them for a little while. We went left, right, left, whatever. And then they dipped into this fucking cut in the trails. And something told me to stop. Like, so they disappeared into the trees. And I pulled up to where they disappeared in the trees and looked down, and it was like a fucking vertical drop of like 50 feet. Just a drop. And I said, "Fuck that. I'm not doing that." So I turned and went a different way. And I went, and I followed this different trail. And they had given me a map of the trails in the beginning of this whole thing. And I was like, and I stopped and I looked at it. I said, okay, they went on like a red trail, which was like intermediate. There's like black, red. I went to a blue, which was, I'm probably getting these colors wrong, but so I went on like the third hardest one, followed it, got lost. All of a sudden the trail ended and I was at like this giant body of water. I didn't want to turn around and go back because I just came down some steep shit, and I was going for a long, long time down a mountain, like I said, twisting and turning. So I just kept going. I figured it would have to go somewhere. I went, and there was no trail after a while, and I was just like on the side of this water, like not a river, but like a big creek. And there was times when I had to cross it and ride through it, and then I was really lost. And then I was like on a Jeep trail, and I was lost. And then I had no cell phone signal. And then the canopy above me was just so thick, and then it was like there was no more birds chirping or animal. And I don't know. I was out there for hours, and I just kept going and going and going and going and going. And I mean, I was like starting to get scared, like. When it gets to that point where you're like, fuck, I need to turn around, but it's so far back the other way. And like I said, I had been off any kind of a trail for a long ass time. I had no idea which way to go or nothing. And I just and finally I got like a cell phone signal, a half of like one bar, and I pulled up like maps and I saw that there was a road coming up like way up the way, and then I could hear cars, like one car going here, another one there. I said it was a little glimmer of hope, and I kept going, and finally I came out to a road, and then I went down the road, way down this road, and I mean I've been going for a long, like hours at this point when I finally get there, and then I hear a lawnmower. I'm like, fuck. And then I see a house. I'm like, fuck. And there's nobody at that house. But then I go down further and I get closer to the lawnmower noise. And bam, there's another house. And there's like a Y intersection of these roads. And there's a one-handed dude on a riding lawnmower doing his yard. And I was like, eureka, thank you. Thank goodness. Holy shit. So I go down to this dude. And you got to remember, like I said, I had on a full face helmet. Eye protection, gloves, elbow pads, forearm gear, knee and shin pads. I'm like a chest protector. I had on a hydration pack. I just looked like I was doing some serious shit, and this dude's looking at me like, "What the fuck are you?" But he was the one with one hand riding his mower. The whole situation was weird. And I'm like calling for him, and he's just looking at me like, yeah. And I was like, and I explained my situation. He's like, what? And I said, I just came from the lodge, and I was riding by, and I got lost, and I don't know what. And he's like, you came from the lodge? And I was like, yeah. And he said, oh. And I said, can you tell me the quickest way to get back there? And he's like, oh, well, you can go that way up that road, and that's 4.5 miles uphill. And I'm pushing a mountain bike at this point also. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, I mean, or you can go turn around in the road that you're on now. He said, you can follow that, and then it turns into a trail and a path or whatever. And that goes all the way up there too. And that's only 3.5 miles, but that's way steeper. And I had only been on that road for like a little while because I had cut through the woods and then ended up on it. To get to the point of the story, I was so lost, and I took the shorter route, which was the steeper route back up the mountain, which is, I believe, 3.5 miles up the trail. Hold on. And the sun was beaming. It was hot as fuck. I had on all that shit. As I tried to ride up the hill, because I have a lot of gears. You know, it's an expensive mountain bike. It has fucking a whole bunch of gears. So there's low gears, so I can ride up a mountain, you know, without too much energy, because, you know, it has low gears, but you don't move fast whenever you're in those gears. Like, you pedal fucking 15 revolutions to get 3 feet in those gears because it was steep. So I ended up pushing the bike up this mountain. I got exhausted to the point where there was a giant cloud of gnats that I had walked into, and I didn't have the energy to get away from them. So I was walking with these gnats. I was cooking in the sun with gnats. I was basically breathing gnats into my fucking mouth and my nose because there were so many of them just swirling around my head, and I couldn't get away from them. I didn't have the energy to, wave them away anymore. My arms were dead from pushing the bike and from waving them at the gnats. I had just about run out. I had water in my hydration pack, which had gotten hot by this point, but then I ran out of it because you use a lot of water when you're exerting yourself pushing up a mountain. And there were several times when I almost just sat down and gave up. Like, I'm not making this dramatic enough. This was a harrowing story. I got so fucking lost. And then when I found my way what I should have done was offered to pay that man whatever he wanted to drive me back up to the lodge. But for whatever reason, it didn't even occur to me when I was just so happy to have found my way again that I just like, oh, thanks. And I took off. I was afraid and exhausted, and the only food I had was one power bar. And when I tried to eat that, it was after I had basically run out of water, and it was like eating peanut butter. I thought that I was going to die out there. I literally thought that I was going to collapse and die out there. And the only thing that kept me going was those fucking gnats. I didn't, because I honestly was so tired. I would have been fine with just collapsing down on the ground and just sitting there until either I got some energy. Then I would have probably like stayed there overnight, just curl in a ball or whatever. Or just sat there till I died. I don't know. I was just dead from pushing that bike and shit. And then those fucking gnats, they just were relentless. And I couldn't stop. And because they would have just went all up my nose and in my ears and in my eyes and everything. And that's what kept me going. Long story short, long story long, long story medium. I made it back up hours later, and I was so down on the fact that I figured I had lost my day there by making that mistake, that I said, fuck it. I think there was 1 hour left before the place closed when I got back up there. And I spent every minute of that hour riding down the trails again. I don't know where because it doesn't take any energy to get on a lift and then ride down the hill. And I went up there and I went down that hill mountain probably 6 more times in that hour. And I fucking kicked ass. I got fucked up. I fucking like hyperextended both of my knees, and I rode until literally I couldn't pedal, like, because both of my knees gave out. And in the end, I ended up feeling like it was a success because I didn't quit. Not that I didn't quit, that I made it back up there, but that after I made it up there, I said, fuck that. I want to get my day's worth of riding. And I did that anyway. So that felt like a victory for me. So that's a true story. I felt like I was going to die in the woods by making a mistake. Anything else I wanted to say about that? Yeah, I got fucked up immediately when I got to that place. I jumped. I was so nervous because I didn't know what I was in for. I jumped on a bike and was riding toward the lift, and I didn't see a drop off, and I just went off the drop off totally without even seeing it, and the bike flipped forward, but I got my legs up in front of me to stop me from flipping over with the bike, and I fucking like hyperextended both of my knees, and my knees are still kind of weird from that now. Anything else I want to say about that? Because that took too long. Oh, I wanted to give 2 videos for if anybody out there likes mountain biking the way that I do. 2 videos you should check out. Go on YouTube and check out Flo Like Water, FLO Like Water. It's I don't know the guy's name, but you'll see a dude on a mountain bike. That video will inspire the fuck out of you to want to go ride some mountain bikes. And then there's another one you can type in Hope Pro 4. Hope, HOPEPRO, the number 4 on YouTube. It is a video for Hope. They make hubs that make that noise, like that noise whenever you spin your back wheel. They made a dope ass video right there. And there's no music. It's just the sound of that hub as this dude is riding down this trail. And those 2 videos get me. I wanted to say also, if you ride mountain bikes or if you're just getting into it, Specialized makes awesome tires. A lot of people like Schwalbe and whatever that other one is, but I'm trying to tell you, Specialized. I have the one on the front is called Purgatory, and the one on the back is called, I don't remember, Control or something. That's set up on those tires. Like, I don't slip. I ride in the mud a lot. For some reason, after it rains, I always want to go hit the trails. Specialized makes dope ass tires. That's all I'm gonna say about that, because I gotta move on from this. And that's dude. Yeah, fuck that. Wait. Oh yeah, I love berms. Damn. What does this say? Yeah, I hit a few small jumps, and there were these like sweeping, huge, deep cut, like left to right berms cut that. And whenever I finally made it up there, and that's what I kept hitting. I kept hitting that again and again and again and again and again. Just woo, 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 left. I love that shit. And I was hitting them harder and faster. And like I said, until my fucking knees gave out, and I literally could not pedal anymore. And then after that, I went to the fucking bar, and I had chicken quesadilla. And that was my first time having that beer I had on the last episode, Elysian IPA. And it ended up being a good day after I felt like I was going to fucking die. I'm going to play something for you, and this will speak to some people. You know who you are if you hear it, and then you'll know what this next segment is going to be about. So, if you're a fan, then you know that is from Ghost in the Shell. That was actually in the original anime, if I remember that, because I heard that playing in this new one, and it immediately I said, "Oh, that was in the original," because I was a fan of the anime version. I went to see it. It's with Scarlett Johansson. I was kind of skeptical, but not too much. I knew I wanted to see it. And so here are my thoughts on that movie. I just went to see it yesterday, so it's still fresh in my head. The way that, I think I said this before, but the way that I judge whether a movie was good or not is if I'm still thinking about it afterward. Yes, I'm still heavily thinking about this movie. Yes, it was very good. It is very good. Yes, I want to see it again. It wasn't perfect, and to be honest with you, it didn't really grab me. Like, I didn't feel anything about it until the third of the movie. So if it was cut into thirds, the first 2/3, I was watching and I was entertained, but I didn't feel anything. I was just like, oh yeah, whatever. This is okay. But the third is when it got good for me. And I couldn't really put my finger on what changed to make me all of a sudden develop a feeling about it. But there were a couple things that I'm thinking may have been, and I'll get into that. So my notes here. Yes, it is good. Yes, I want to see it again, and I'm probably going to skip seeing it again. I'll probably just buy it on 4K Blu-ray because I'm into that now. Since I got a 4K TV, I love it. Yes, I'm still thinking about it. There was a lot of talk about it being whitewashed because it's if you don't know what it is, it was originally an Japanimation, an anime movie, cartoon movie, Japanese cartoon movie, and it was highly acclaimed whenever it came out. I don't know what year that was, but I was young and I didn't understand it. I remember not understanding but loving it whenever I saw it, the original. And they said there was talk about why the fuck is Scarlett Johansson the star of this movie, a white woman, when this is a Japanese movie. And I like the fact that they did that, and not because I love Scarlett Johansson. I like the fact that they did that because, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, just skip forward a little bit. It made perfect sense for them to use a white woman for the character, because the story, as they portrayed it in this version of the story, was that they took the young Japanese, basically rebels. They were like anti-establishment kids, Japanese kids, and they said, "Fuck them. We'll use them for our experiments." And we'll assimilate them. We'll make them what we want them. Fuck these young Japanese little troublemaking, rock throwing assholes. Now we'll make you our puppets. And since it was a white, basically, corporation, of course they're going to make them white as just an additional fuck you. And so it made perfect sense to me. And that was the point in the movie when I think I started to love it. When I realized that Scarlett Johansson was actually her brain came from a young Japanese girl. I was like, damn, yeah, I really like this movie. And the dude, I forget his name. I forget all the characters' names, but the guy, the Japanese guy who was Scarlett Johansson's boss, he was awesome. I really, really dug his character. I dug all the characters. The dude who was like her, not her bodyguard, but her right hand man, the big diesel white dude who lost his eyes in a battle and put in the crazy tactical eyes to let it look crazy as hell. But he said, well, what the fuck? My job is my life. So, let's get the best fucking eyes I can get. I love it. I really, the more I think about it, they did a great job with this shit. It looks amazing. It's a bleak, futuristic vision of, like, I don't know what the year is supposed to be, Japan, but holy fuck, I would not want to live in that time. It looks like New York City to the third power, with just fucking advertisements everywhere and just fucking way crazy overcrowded and just bleak. But the movie's really good. It made me want to watch the original again. I actually went on YouTube and started watching some clips. The spider tank, I definitely watched that scene again. That song that I love that song. There's actually a full orchestra video. And I didn't know that song is long as hell. It's fucking 19 minutes long. The original, the full version, and it's an orchestra song, and it's on YouTube. Check it out. It's awesome. I'm gonna buy it. What else I want to say? Scarlett Johansson, yeah, she did a great job, and to the point where, like, the way that she was walking in it, because if you don't know the story, you shouldn't be listening to this because it's spoilers. But it's her brain and like a robot body, basically, and or like a android body. And she walked as if her posture was like robot posture, and the way she moved was like as if it wasn't. They didn't quite get perfect human being movement down when they made these androids, and she did a great job, and she did a phenomenal job. I really enjoyed this movie. I really did. And I appreciate the muscle tone that she put on for this. I don't know how much was CG or bodysuit or what, but she really got kind of jacked for this. You can tell she takes her role seriously. It's excellent. I'm telling you, Scarlett Johansson is just excellent. Anyway, it's looking like a great year for movies. So far, I've seen a few good ones. Split was great. This one, Ghost in the Shell, was great. What else did I just talk about that was great? There was something else I saw that I really liked, and I can't remember it right now. I'm not going to waste any time. I did want to talk about the trailers that I saw while I was waiting for Ghost in the Shell to come on. Fate of the Furious looks fucking ridiculous. I started off loving those movies because I was into the tuner culture, and they just went full blown action craziness. And this next one looks fucking, I don't know what the hell. Like they're just going bonkers. They're going fucking bananas with it. Like The Rock jumps out of somebody shoots a I don't even know where to fucking start with that. Vin Diesel is always pulling a fucking wheelie move in a muscle car. In the trailer for this one, The Fate of the Furious, he wheelies a muscle car on a frozen body of water that a submarine is busting through, and it lifts his car up and he fucking jumps over it, and then the submarine shoots a fucking torpedo on top of the fucking frozen water. And The Rock is driving next to the fucking torpedo. It jumps out and kicks it out of the way so that it doesn't blow up what it's supposed to. I don't know. This shit looks fucking. I don't know who goes to see these things. I'm not going to see that. I might watch it if it came on HBO. I'm sure it's going to be I don't know. I take that back. Maybe I'll check it out. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of explosion and just a full on action bonanza extravaganza. Whatever. Wonder Woman looks awesome. I love that they picked Gal Gadot, even though she's like skinny. Wonder Woman's, we know what Wonder Woman traditionally looked like. Gal Gadot has She has a gravitas to her. She Wonder Woman is royalty, is what I'm getting at, and Gal Gadot looks like she could be royal, so she fits in. That movie looks awesome. I want to see it. Wonder Woman, Justice League 2. Excuse me, looks like a pile of fucking dung. I'm not even going to talk about it. Transformers, the new one. What the fuck is that? Like some feminism shit? What? I didn't even understand what I was watching. The little girl talking about it. Oh, you punched like a girl. Watch the trailer for it. Send me a fucking comment in the email or on social media, because I didn't even understand. The trailer for that fucking movie was 9/10 a little Latina looking girl who looks like they put fake tits on, by the way. She looked like she was 9 but had like fake tits. It was weird as hell. I don't understand it. And the whole thing, she was talking about how strong of a female she was. What the fuck does that have to do with the damn Transformers? I think we've lost our way, people. Feminism and the Transformers, how the fuck does that mix? Anyway, Spider-Man looks okay, like whatever. Like, I feel the same way about Spider-Man as I do about Batman. We've had 1,800 Spider-Man movies. I'm not excited for this new kid. Sure, he was good in the Avengers. So what? We don't need more Spider-Man. I liked Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, and I just don't get it. I don't understand why we have to keep making Spider-Man and Batman movies. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 looks fucking yes. That's all I'm saying about that. So, especially if you were into Ghost in the Shell, the original anime project, go see it. Talk to me about it. Let me know what you thought, because I'll be honest, I heard people as I was leaving the theater saying that it was just okay. And that is honestly how I felt for 2/3 of the movie. And then it turned for me. And like I said, I can't specifically, I think it was that there were like deep layers that you either were going to catch or you didn't. And I did for whatever reason. And I really like that movie. All right. Next segment. Now is your hygiene tip for today. I'm just going to blow through this quickly. Switch up your deodorants. I try to keep 2 sticks of deodorant at all times. 2 completely different brands, like 1 Degree and 1 Old Spice, or I can't think of any other kinds right now. 1 Degree and 1 Old Spice, 1 Right Guard and 1 Dove Men or whatever. Just because the different companies use different formulas, and at least for me, I'm a fair sized guy. I'm 6'2", about 200. I fluctuate between about 230 and 205, anywhere between there. I can sweat. And what I found is my body adapts to deodorants, and then they stop working. So if I use the same kind of Mitchum, just the same one, if I keep buying this Mitchum, after a few months, it just stops working. Like, it'll work for about an hour, and then I'll notice my pit smell. So what I noticed this was something I figured out years ago. So what I do is I'll keep 1 Mitchum and 1 fucking Degree, and I'll switch them up. Like, I'll do 2 days of one and 2 days of the other, and my body confuses it, and then they tend to last longer. And I'm gonna throw in another tip here, which is cologne and body spray are meant for your skin, not your clothes. A lot of people out there, I noticed, and my little brother is one. He sprays his cologne and his body spray on his clothes, and it makes a completely different smell than when you put it on your skin. I believe that these scents are engineered to mix with your body's natural chemistry and produce the desired effect. When you spray it on your clothes, it doesn't smell good, and then it's always like way too strong. You can always tell when somebody knows how to put on a scent. Like, you're supposed to like spray it in the air and then walk through it, and then let it like breathe for a minute, and then it starts to react with your chemicals, your whatever in your body, and that's a proper smell. So yeah, I mean, do what you want to do. I'm just trying to tell you, it stinks when you walk around with Axe body spray all over your fucking jeans. You smell like a fucking asshole. So you're an asshole. There's that segment. You're an asshole if you spray Axe body spray on your fucking jean jacket. And you're also, I'm going to just blend right into that. You're an asshole. That's another segment. Today's You're an Asshole is also, if you like yellow mustard, if you like plain yellow mustard, fuck you. Yellow mustard tastes like fucking bird shit. And it looks like it. Yellow mustard, what the fuck is that? It looks like something that bubbled out of a bird's asshole. Yellow mustard tastes like shit. Like the plain regular yellow mustard. What the fuck is that? I've tried over, because I'm one who likes to try new things. I've tried to figure out what the fuck is the appeal of that shit. It's gross. Spicy brown mustard is the only mustard. Moving on, because I'm taking too long here. We're already at 47 minutes. All right, I'm gonna jump right into today's champion beauty. Champion beauty, and the reason I do this segment is this is just women who stand out to me and have always, and I've always been like, wow, damn, shit, fucking shit. Like, this woman deserves an award just for how fucking fine she is. This is strictly on looks. It doesn't have much to do with like talent or anything like that, because Tilda Swinton is the most talented actress that I've ever seen on TV, and I mean, you know, I'd hit it, but you know, this is just strictly physical fucking whatever. Monica Bellucci is today's all-time beauty. All right, so I don't know exactly when yes, I do. The first thing that I ever saw Monica Bellucci in was in that Bruce Willis movie, which was, I don't remember what the fuck it was called, but they were like, Bruce Willis was like a Navy SEAL or something, and he went to save Monica Bellucci in the jungle or something. I don't know. She was like a refugee or a what's that, Peace Corps worker or something, and her people were being like killed by savages. I don't know, something. And Bruce Willis saved the day. You ain't gonna find a better looking woman than her in that movie. Like, she's just insanely fucking hot. But she's also regal. She's very, very. If a woman looks like I said, Gal Gadot looks like she could be like from royal lineage. Monica Bellucci looks like the queen, and she's played the queen of whatever and some shit before, and it just works. She looks like the perfect example of what the fucking queen of some place would look like. She's hot as fuck too, like her lips and her fucking face. And I don't know. I don't want to sound like a creep. She's beautiful to me. She speaks eloquently and like sophisticated. What is she, French? Or she's Italian, I believe. I just wanted to say that she's dope as fuck. Her accent is dope. She's exotic looking. Her, of course, voluptuous. In the Matrix, in that plastic dress that it looked like fucking packaging tape. That they fucking fit her into. It was like so tight that she could barely like switch her hips from left to right. That's a broad you want on your arm. Come on, man. Ugh. What else? I'm gonna make this quick. In the Matrix, that was like fucking hot. She was. Ugh. I'm gonna get past this. What did I write? She was in a weird ass movie called Irreversible. That was like, I have no idea. I've watched that movie so many times just to try to figure out what the fuck it was about. And as far as I can tell, that movie was about everybody getting to see Monica Bellucci naked. The movie made no fucking sense at all. There was like a random crazy rape scene in a fucking tunnel or an alley or something. It's just weird. It's weird as fuck. But I'll tell you this. I've heard famous people comment that was the best. And this sounds fucked up, so forgive me. But they said that was like the best like faux rape scene that they've ever seen was in that movie. I've heard famous people say that. And I'll say that I've watched that scene several times. Not that I approve of rape or anything like that, but it's a hot scene. And if you're gonna, I don't know, Monica Bellucci is she should have been a Bond girl when she was in her prime. Like, she's still gorgeous. Like, the woman is aging. You can see it. I don't know how old she is, 50 or something, but I would date her absolutely right now. And I think it's a shame that she got passed over as a Bond girl, or maybe they just didn't consider her or whatever. But she should have been a Bond girl instead of Denise Richards. Like Denise Richards with her fake tits and whatever. I mean, she looks good, but Monica Bellucci should have been a Bond girl in her prime. She was in Spectre, I believe, but she was old. Like she should have been in a Bond movie when she was killing them out there. And the last thing I wrote down was that I will never forget her in that plastic dress in The Matrix. And if I met her tomorrow, I'd ask her if I could buy her a fish sandwich. All right. Next segment.
Fix it now!
Would you please fix that shit now, please?
Just fix that shit. Fix that shit.
All right. I was trying to decide what order I wanted to do this episode in. I have so many note cards, but I think we're doing pretty good on time. 52 minutes ain't bad. I only have a few more things I want to talk about. Today's Fix That Shit is a very quick one. I went to the post office the other day and I bought an envelope to send out some shit book related. No, I was paying my gas bill. I'm sorry. And it was an envelope that had to lick. I bought an envelope there and it was an envelope that, with the glue that you have to lick. And what the fuck is that? They've been had envelopes that you just pull you peel the little shit off and it's sticky and you seal it. We shouldn't be licking envelopes anymore. Let's get past that. Everybody knows, if you've seen that Seinfeld episode, that what's his face? George's, was it George? George's girlfriend died from licking envelopes. The glue is poison. Fuck that. Let's no more licking envelopes. It should be 100% the kind where you peel the shit off and don't have to lick them anymore, because it just looks barbaric licking envelopes. It's 2017, people. All right, I think it's about time that we talk about a song. Did you catch that? Did you notice how the music changed? You might have just not paid attention to it if it's not your type shit. But if you paid attention, that music changed. It went from like a loungy, not jazzy, but like kind of cool ass, I don't know, yacht music. I don't know. I have no idea how to describe it. It went from one thing and then it morphed into something else. That's what I love about these guys. That song is called Oxygen, and the band is called 12 Foot Ninja. You should know this about me. I listen to all types of music. I listen to from hip hop and rap to R&B to orchestra to fucking heavy metal to jazz to I got some crazy. I listen to some Latin shit, Gypsy Kings, and some other stuff. I listen to anything. I explore for new music, new kinds of music, and so don't be surprised by some of the things that you hear on here. So I looked up the genre of this band. The name is called 12 Foot Ninja, and I'm gonna look it up again right now. 12 Foot Ninja genre. Because they don't really fit into one. Oh, my phone is in airplane mode. I always fucking forget that. I wrote it down somewhere. Where did I write that down? They are considered like... Where the fuck did I write that? I'm not going to be able to find it. I have too many notes. Wait. No. Can't find it. They're considered like new metal or alternative metal, or like I saw one that was called like math metal. I don't know what the fuck that is, but they switch it up. They use all kind of different instruments. They don't just do one type of thing. It's not all just they flip it and switch it. And I saw an interview, or I listened to an interview with one of the guys, and he plays something called a Varilax, which I never heard of, and I don't think a lot of other people who play instruments ever heard of either, because he made the comment that he was getting a lot of messages from people who were trying to mimic and duplicate the sound that this band comes up with. And a lot of them were saying, I can't figure out how to make my bass guitar do that, or my guitar doesn't hit those different, that doesn't have that kind of a range. And he says, yeah, I'm not using a guitar, dude. I'm using something else. I'm using this weird ass thing called this, or this other thing called that. These guys are top notch fucking musicians first. Like, you, some of the fucking, I almost said autistic. What is the word? Acoustic sets that they have on YouTube, I like better than their actual music videos. They're dope. That song's called Oxygen. I love it. This band was recommended to me by a friend of mine. I was looking for something new to listen to on Pandora. White dude, friend of mine that I ride motorcycles with, and he said, I don't know, 12 Foot Ninja. Their new, that song Oxygen is off of their newest album. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but I downloaded it. I only like about three, maybe 4 songs on it. But all 3 of the other albums that they had before this that I know of, I love every song. Every fucking song. They have 3 albums before this one, and I love the fuck out of that. But I've listened to them like last year when I was mountain biking heavy. Like, that was solely what I was listening to most of the time, was that. Some of my favorite songs by them that you should look up if you're interested in all are, I wrote it down here. Rogue is one of my favorites. Rogue. Silent Machine is another one. Shuriken is another one. Shuriken. Liberation is one of my all-time favorites by this band, and Mother Sky is a really popular one. Let me wet my palate here with Stone IPA. I'm almost done with number 2. I'm going to hit the third one, and then I'll be moving on to a Mad Hatter. Or excuse me, no, I only have 2 of these. My Mad Hatters are in the fucking freezer. Hold up. I got to go get that shit. Well, actually, I can, how long has it been? I think they're good for an hour in the freezer. Usually IPAs are good. They don't explode in the freezer, I think, because there's so much alcoholism in them. But like, if you put a 6-pack of Corona in there for over an hour, you're gonna have a mess to clean up. Anyway, so what else did I want to say about 12 Foot Ninja? Oh, I wrote it right here on the card. It's listed as alternative metal, something called Djent, D-J-E-N-T, whatever the fuck that is. Progressive metal, funk metal, mathcore, and new metal. So they don't really fit in any categories, and I love it. Some of my favorite music right now. Moving on. Oh, today's big topic. Do I want to go into that, or do I want to hit that last? I think I'm going to hit that last. I'm going to go into something I bought recently after I go check on this beer and take a leak. All right, the beer is good, just like I thought. Yeah, these IPAs, they you can leave them in the fucking freezer for a couple hours. It's ice ass cold. That is my favorite kind right here. My number 1 favorite beer right now is Mad Hatter, and this motherfucker has about a fucking half an inch of frost on it, baby. Ooh, I can't wait to crack that. That's gonna be delicious. IPAs are best served ice ass cold. Let me get the last sip of this Stone in. Oh no, there's another swig. 2 swigs. All right, something I bought recently. I wanted to talk about the headset that's on my head right now. It's called the Logitech Artemis G933 Spectrum Snow Limited Edition Wireless Gaming Headset. I dare you to say that 3 times fast. The Logitech Artemis G933 Spectrum S. I can't fucking, whatever. It's a gaming headset. I bought it to go with my PlayStation and Xbox One. I only bought it because I have Sony Golds that went with my PS4, and I wanted to use them with my Xbox as well because whatever, I don't take that shit that serious. But for some reason, I watched all these videos about the Sony Golds showing that how you can use them with your Xbox, but it didn't work for some reason for me. I did exactly what they said to do. I bought the little dongle that you plug into the bottom of the controller and the cord. I used a 3.5mm jack or whatever cord, but it just didn't work. So Black Friday sale, I caught this Logitech Artemis Snow Edition, limited edition, which means that it's white. And it's fucking awesome. This headset is the shit. You still, like all headsets with Xbox One, for some reason, they still have it to where you have to plug it in to the dongle on the bottom of the controller. So it's not true wireless as far as I'm concerned. But these motherfuckers are comfortable. They are the best looking headset. If there's another better headset out there, better looking, I mean, you tell me. This motherfucker, sorry about all that, the fucking F-bombs and shit. This headset is the best looking gaming headset that I've ever seen. And on top of it, they threw in LED lights that change colors and patterns, and it just looks good as fuck. And they're super comfortable. They kind of sit in a weird position on your head, like you have to tilt it forward. But once you do that, I forget that they're on my head. They're awesome. The battery comes out. They have two plates on the side where you can store the dongle. They have it so this works for everything: PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And for for PC and I believe for PC and PS4, it has the dongle that you plug in, and it's true wireless. For the Xbox One, you have to use the cord, obviously. So it's universal. I'm using it right now, plugged into my microphone to record this, and it sounds phenomenal. It has 7.1 virtual surround sound. It doesn't have like pure Dolby, but who gives a fuck? Like when I play Resident Evil and shit, I can hear like footsteps behind me. It sounds great. The surround sound and shit will blow your head off. It's insane. There's great bass. They get loud as fuck. You can use them for your regular headphones, plug them into your iPod or your phone or whatever. Listen to music. They sound phenomenal. What else am I gonna say? The battery life. I've never had the battery die on me. I don't think. Even the symbol, the G for Logitech or whatever, the G933 on the side lights up with LED lights. This headset looks fucking awesome. Just look it up on Google. Google it. What else I want to say? Oh, it has, and you wouldn't know that it has a mic. You just look at it and it looks like it has a headset, but then you reach up and you hook your finger in there, and the mic is actually tucked in, and it cranks down, or it leans down. And I've asked people how I sound online when I play Battlefield and shit, and they say I sound great. So there's no issue there. And then whenever you're not using it, like me right now, you just flip it back up, and it goes away, and you wouldn't even know it was there. The one problem that I have with this thing is that I can't hear, when I play Xbox, I can't hear myself talk. So right now, as I'm recording this, I'm getting my voice back a certain amount into the headset because I believe they're noise canceling. So a lot of the outside noise you can't hear, including your own voice. And if you think about it, when you're talking to people, you can hear, like without a headset, you can hear your own voice, and it kind of helps you meter how loud you're supposed to talk. I can't hear my own voice in this headset, and I believe it's a part of the settings because you plug them into your laptop, or excuse me, your computer, and it pulls up all the EQs and shit. I just haven't figured out how to adjust it so I can hear my own voice. So in other words, I don't know how loud I'm speaking or how low. That's the only complaint I have with these. They're $200, but I caught it on a Black Friday sale, so I got it for $100. I would say try to find it on sale, but they're definitely worth $200. I know there's more expensive ones out there. I don't see. I guess with all the different like the exact Dolby's technology that's out there, I guess that's what you get into when you pay the more money. I don't know, but I don't need anything more than this for gaming. Except I'd like for it to be truly wireless on Xbox. But I'm gonna have to go ahead and get myself a PS4, the new PS4, pretty soon anyway. Whenever I get money. So, the final segment that I want to talk about today is guns. I wanted to talk about this earlier in the segment because I was kind of excited about it, but shit happens. Let me get a swig of my beer. And now I want to start throwing some numbers at you. 1 second. This one's kind of near and dear to my heart. Okay, so here's some numbers for you. 19,867. Another number is 3,129,000. 6,242,735 is another one. 699,234 is also a number. Then you have like 458,490 or 2,485,523 and 172,376. You get the idea. 1,381,201. These are all numbers that are associated with these names: Schwell 11, Demolition Ranch, FPS Russia, Nuttin' Fancy, Collin Noir, Hickok 45, Instructor 0, Iraq Veteran 8888, 22 Plinkster, Banshee Moon, and each one of those names, one of those numbers is associated with, and the total of all those numbers is 15,052,132. Let me say that again. 52,132,132. What is that number? That is the number of subscribers to all of those YouTube channels that I just mentioned. Every one of those names was a YouTube channel. Every one of those YouTube channels is a channel dedicated basically to firearms, and those are just the ones that I watch or have watched at one point or another. The ones off the top of my head that I can remember, I don't know how many there were. What was it, 11 of them? I've watched many, many, many of them. 15 million subscribers. Okay, of those, 11 or so firearms YouTube channels. It's probably safe to assume, just an assumption, that out of those over 15 million subscribers, some of them are multiples. So we'll take it down to 8 million, because not everybody watches a whole bunch of different channels like I do. So we'll take it down to 9 million just to be safe. And of those 9 million subscribers, it's probably safe to say that 8.5 million of those subscribers, just being generous, probably are all legal gun owners in this country. Okay, so 8.5 million people who watch those channels on a regular basis, who also own guns. This is just me guessing. I have no idea what the real numbers are, but I am one of those people in those lists, and I do own firearms. And what I want to say, the reason that those numbers are important to me is because I'm not sure, but I think there are like 200 and almost 300 million people in this country, and the number of people who are legal non-criminal gun owners is astounding. Like, a whole fucking lot of people in this country own legal guns and don't commit crimes with them. And I hear constantly on whenever I turn on the news and places, these people calling for gun regulations and all this. And it just every time I hear that, It bothers me for one reason, because for the few people who do bad things with guns, they want to they want to punish the vast majority of people who do not do bad things with guns. Okay? So here's what I'm getting at. In California, I'm not sure if it's still that way, but I know a couple years ago it was illegal to have window tint. Okay? I don't live in California. I live in Pennsylvania, but I have lived in California before. And that was always ridiculous to me. And what I was told was the reasoning for it was because of, I guess there were a couple incidents where cops didn't see somebody having a weapon inside their car when they pulled them over, and cop might have got shot or died or something and all that. And that's a tragedy, and it sucks that it happens, but the person who did that is a bad guy. So, as far as I'm concerned, when you're dealing with people and you're in a cop in a situation, there need to be procedures to keep the cops safe, which should include certain things that I'm not going to get into right now. So, but the point is that for those few times, I guarantee it was relatively a few. No, I don't have the numbers, but I guarantee it was a few number of times when police officers got hurt, killed, whatever, by people with tinted windows in cars. Now, nobody in the whole state of California is allowed to have tint on their windows in their cars. That's backwards to me. It's backwards, whatever one is the proper way to say it. I don't want to live in a society where the few govern the masses, the few bad apples set the pace for the rest of the good guys. Okay. And I also don't want to live in a society where people are babysat, where we have the no, you can't do it. No, we're put it this way. If I owned my own land, I would want people to be able to have a tank if they wanted. I would want them to be able to have a fighter jet if they wanted. Maybe I wouldn't go as far as to say missiles and shit, like pure military, like nobody can have a nuclear submarine. But if you want your own tank and you can afford it, in my land, in Collin land, the continent we'll call Collin, you can own a fucking tank if you want. Because if you own a tank in Collin land, I know that you've gone through the procedures and that we can trust you with it. And I would rather have a land full of people who I know are advanced and can handle things than a land full of dummy morons who are just being pushed around by the rules. Am I making sense here? I'm trying to think. How do I say this? So in other words, there are a lot of benefits to having window tint on your car. It keeps the interior cool. It's privacy. I don't like a lot of the average person in the fucking streets just looking over into my car. I like to have window tint for privacy. I think it looks good. If you watch car commercials, 9 times out of 10, the depictions of vehicles in the car commercials have tinted windows because it's aesthetically pleasing. It looks fucking better than being able to see through clear glass on the windows. There are many advantages to having tinted windows, and many people who would have tinted windows on their cars and then let's throw in the money that's generated by people going and getting these services done, the jobs, the small businesses and shit who install window tint. There's a lot of them where I live. And you want to say that nobody in the entire state of California is allowed because of the few times when something went wrong with the cops and pulling people over. Now, I'm not saying anything about the cops except that what needs to happen, and let me say this up front too. I'm about to say that the rule needs to change about whenever the cops pull people over, okay? And whenever the rule changes, people need to be made aware of it. So they need to come out and say on television in California, the governor, whoever, hey, listen, we realize that tinted windows is awesome. We lost a few cops because of tinted windows and bad guys with guns or whatever when cops couldn't see and then it went wrong and that sucked. We changed the law. We're going to change the law back. You can have tinted windows, but you need to know that if you have tinted windows and you get pulled over, the cops are not going to play. And they need to tell everybody so that whenever, from that day forward, when a cop pulls over somebody and they have tinted windows, the cop's going to have a completely different rule book to play by. They're going to get behind their door. They're going to announce on the loudspeaker that you need to roll down all your windows and put your hands out the window or whatever the fuck needs to happen. I would much rather see that happen than limit an entire population of the biggest state in the fucking union from having a comfort. Does this make sense? I know it makes sense. Am I expressing it correctly is what I need to know. Email me and let me know. I don't like the fact that we have rules based on the few. The rules, a society is the many. A society is the things that we decide on for the many, not for the few. If the bad guys are the few, we need to address the few in a different way so that the many can still enjoy their privileges and luxuries and happiness, not be held down as if the entire population were the bad guys. Please follow me. I go to the gun range. I own guns. I enjoy shooting guns. I don't even carry guns for protection. I like it recreationally. When I go to the gun range, it's therapeutic. It's exciting. It's something, it's a skill. The last time I went to the gun range, I took my small concealed carry weapon, which is a 3.3 inch barreled XDS9. Was it Springfield XDS9? Just a little small one, for everyday carry. I shot at 200 yards and hit a few headshots with that little tiny pistol at 200 yards. And that was so fucking exciting to me. It's something that I love. And I love getting better and better and better. I have an AR-15. Holy shit, I love shooting that thing. I have guns, okay? And I enjoy shooting them. And I don't want restrictions on it because some asshole... I'm not a murderous, evil asshole person. There are millions. The majority of the people who are gun owners in this country are not murderous, evil assholes. We should not be setting the rules for everyone based on the few murderous, evil assholes out there. Because a murderous, evil asshole, you take away the guns, they're just going to use something else. Crime doesn't go away. We have a people problem, not a gun problem. You understand? All the shit that I'm seeing recently is vehicles, people just using vehicles to plow through people and bombs and whatever else. Come on. Another point. I need a sip of beer. Hold on. Okay, let me just look at my card because I wrote all this out. Mad Hatter IPA is fucking great. It is, what's the percentage on this thing? 7%. It's perfect. It's so citrusy and nice. Damn. If I was making one, this is what I want to make my own IPAs, but I don't need to because this is the one that I would make. Holy shit, that's delicious. If you try it and you like it, please let me know. I'm a fan. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this card so that I don't lose my place. This is a big deal to me. The first thing I want to say is just like driving, as I was the last episode or the one before that, one of them, there needs to be a great deal of training involved in gun ownership. Okay, I went through pretty heavy training to get my motorcycle license, and I didn't complain about it at all because it's a dangerous thing. I've gone through extensive automobile license training because I'm a CDL driver, a professional driver, and I didn't complain about it because it's a dangerous thing. I could easily hurt people with a big truck, or I could hurt myself on my motorcycle. So there should be extensive training involved. I want to live in a society with extensively trained people. If you want to get something like that, get whatever you want. You can own a tank. If you can afford it, in my world, if you can afford a tank, we will all be comfortable with you owning a tank, because if you own a tank, we know that you have been heavily trained in tank operation, and you're going to be safe with it. You're going to be able to use it only where it's designated for you to use it, with the ammunition shit that's, approved, and you've gone through the training and you know what you're doing. You're not going to hurt anybody. And we know that you're not a murderous, evil asshole. You've been screened. It should be the same thing with guns. I'm not 100% for this whole thing where it's your right as an American and all. Sure, it's your right, whatever. But not just any fucking asshole should be able to just get a gun. Like, we know that. That's common sense. These old ass laws that say, Second Amendment, whatever, fine. But they need to throw in another amendment that says that you can buy a gun, but you're going to be heavily vetted. You're going to be judged. You're going to be scrutinized. We want to know if you're an evil, murderous asshole first. And then, sure, have whatever fucking guns you want, because we know, and you're going to be trained. You're going to fucking take safety classes, and you're going to take training. You're going to know how to use it responsibly. You're going to know how to use it in whatever situations. And then we know that if we see fucking Joe Blow on the street and he has a gun on his hip, we know that I won't say a master, but that he's qualified to have it. That's what makes sense. Another thing, these people who call for all this gun control are retarded in this fact. If tomorrow the president came out and said, you know what, all guns are illegal, everybody is ordered to turn in their guns tomorrow, or even all guns of this type, if you have this or this or this or this or this, you have to come and turn it in tomorrow. Who's going to come and turn it in tomorrow? You have good guys and you have bad guys. Of those two, which group is going to actually come and turn their guns in? Let me answer that question for you. It's going to be the good guys. The good guys will be the ones who come and turn their guns in. So the bad guys, who are already the ones who are more likely to shoot someone, will still have their guns because they're not the rule obeying type in the first place. You understand? Making your laws will never keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Because this is a capitalist society, and there will always be somebody willing to sell a gun to someone who wants to buy one. And if the rule says we're not allowed to have them, the people who are going to still seek them out are going to be bad guys. You understand? So all you're going to do is whittle it down to only the bad guys having guns, because the good guys want to follow the rules. They want to turn them in. So then only bad guys have guns. Bad guys are going to continue committing their crimes. And then you're on top of that leaving the good guys defenseless against the bad guys. The next point with that, I don't want a nation of babysat sheep. I want intelligent, driven, goal-oriented. We say that we're the best nation. We need to be that. I want a nation of people who can be trusted with their own tanks, not a nation of people who can't be trusted with guns. There are other countries who pull it off just fine. Switzerland and Israel. Okay? There's two off the top of my head. It's doable. We say we're the best. Why can't we do it? Think about it. Some problems are hard. This one is not. If you want a gun, you need to be trained. And then you can have whatever gun you want because we trust you. You've been trained. That's the military. You go into the military, they'll trust you with all kinds of fucking crazy, lethal shit because you've been trained. They will train you and they will know that they can trust you. They will try their damnedest to weed out the bad eggs. And if any fucking bells go off, you ain't getting nothing. It's not a right. I don't believe that it's just a right that anybody can have it. There's a lot of lunatics in our society. I've grown up around a fucking lot of maniac lunatics that should never have guns, and I would never say that they should just automatically have the right to own guns because they live here. I know some pure crazy people. Okay? You need to be screened, and you need to be trained to own guns. Go through that. Have whatever gun you want. Have 10 fully automatic guns. It doesn't matter because we can trust you. We know that we know what you're doing with those guns. We know where you live. We know that you've been trained. We know that you know how to operate them safely. We know that you know how to store them safely. Keep them away from the, children and people who've been deemed unworthy. Oh yeah, and it also it makes me feel better knowing that we have a nation of gun owners that if we ever get invaded by, I don't know, like you see on Red Dawn, I don't remember I think it was Russia in the first one and North Korea in the second one or something. I don't know. But it would make me feel better knowing that our citizens can fight back and we don't have to depend on just the military. I've had nightmares of us being, I've literally had a nightmare where we were invaded by China. Like I came outside and saw the parachutes just popping open above my mother's house. And in a situation like that, which, I mean, look throughout history, it happens, people. You want to pretend it doesn't, but it does. I'd rather have a nation of people who are trained and armed than a nation of people who are just stupid and don't know what to do in any situation. I want my country armed, but at the same time, like I said, I don't bear arms for protection. I don't, because if you go looking for trouble, you're going to find it. I have guns because it's recreation. It's a skill that I enjoy improving myself on. And, it's a fun date to take chicks on. That's it. That's all I have for that one. So yeah, the 15 million, over 15 million subscribers of, people who watch these watch Demolition Ranch and tell me that shit doesn't look fucking fun. That dude does fun. Watch Hickok 45. He just takes guns in his backyard. I don't know where the hell he lives, but he just has a gun range in his backyard, it looks like. And he just, every gun that comes out, he pulls it out and he just has fun. I would love that, to have my own land and just go outside and shoot anytime I want. Why shouldn't I be able to do that? Because some asshole killed somebody with a gun one time. We need to have better people. That is what never gets said. That's a topic for a whole nother day, though, a whole nother episode. So guns. I'm not going to say I'm pro-gun, but I'm a gun enthusiast, and I believe that, like I said, you should be able to own a fucking tank if you want, because you're going to go through a lot of shit to own a tank. And then once you do, if the shit hits the fan, I'm coming to your house. Fucking Joe has a tank, and he knows how to use it. Okay? I'd rather have that than a bunch of fucking screaming, panicked out, ill-equipped loser people who would just be useless in a situation. Why would we want a nation of people who can't be trusted with things? I would rather have a nation of 100% solid warrior genius genetic phenoms than a nation of inbred, loser, weirdo, untrustable nobodies. Sorry, that's a lot. I don't know what that means. This beer is strong. Thank you for joining me sincerely. I appreciate it. Please subscribe. Send me comments, questions, and suggestions by email at IHateTipping@AOL.com. That's IHateTipping@AOL.com. Hit me up on social media. I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Check out the book. It's called These Ones Are Mine. It's on Amazon and Kindle, on paperback and ebook. It's true stories from my life. It's crazy. It was 2 years of painstaking labor of love type work in coffee shops and restaurants, in my bedroom and at work, in my work truck, and just all over the place writing that thing. I'm very proud of it. People who've read it said that they like it a lot. You can support the show that way. You can also support it by subscribing, giving me a 5-star rating on iTunes, or telling your friends to come and check me out. I promise to try to get better every episode. Another one's coming out. I'm going to record another one, episode 6 tomorrow. I'm going to talk about motorcycles and a bunch of other stuff. Please join me for that. Until then, be good, take care of yourself, and always help other people whenever you can. Catch you next time. Peace.